Well, ladies and gentlemen, buckle up, because the Joe Biden situation has officially gone from just crazy to straitjacket level insanity. You may want to sit down for this. So, it's just come out that Joe Biden, yes, President Joe Biden, has been diagnosed with late-stage aggressive terminal prostate cancer. And while that might seem shocking on its own, what makes this story absolutely mind-bending isn't just a diagnosis. It's what's been happening behind the scenes. Now let's rewind a bit. According to a bombshell new book by none other than Jake Tapper. Yes, the CNN Jake Tapper, the White House physician, confessed something chilling. If Biden had fallen one more time, he would have ended up in a wheelchair. Let that sink in. They knew he was one fall away from needing a wheelchair, yet they still said nothing. So, while the cancer diagnosis is tragic, what's truly raising eyebrows is how suddenly this all surfaced. According to Biden family, they just found out about the cancer this past Friday. But hold on a second. Medical experts are now calling BS. Doctors across the country are saying it would be absolutely impossible for a man in his position, who gets frequent high-level medical checkups, to have this aggressive form of cancer suddenly appear out of the blue. Experts are saying this type of cancer would have shown signs for at least 5 years. Yes, you heard that right. 5 years. So now people are asking, were they hiding more than just Biden's mental decline? Were they also covering up a terminal cancer diagnosis in the President of the United States? It's not just about a health issue anymore. This is turning into one of the biggest cover-ups in modern American political history. Now, before we go further, hit that like button, subscribe, and get ready, because this story only gets crazier from here. Let's rewind to what CNN themselves reported when the story broke. Cut to CNN clip-style recap. Former President Joe Biden has just announced he's been diagnosed with an aggressive form of prostate cancer. Boom. Straight from the source. The official statement said Biden had gone in for a checkup after experiencing urinary issues. The findings? A prostate nodule. The diagnosis? A Gleason score of 9. That's on the high end of the cancer severity scale. And metastasis to the bones. That means it's already spread. While doctors say it appears to be hormone sensitive, which makes it treatable, it doesn't change the fact that this is a late-stage terminal condition. And look, prayers up for Joe Biden. No one is celebrating anyone's health issues. This isn't about mocking a sick man. This is about what's been done to that man, and what that means for us. Because let's be honest, Biden should be on a beach somewhere enjoying ice cream, not being used as a political puppet. His family, his staff, the Democratic Party, they all should be ashamed. They kept a clearly ailing man propped up in the hardest job in the world. Not out of duty or love, but for raw political power. And now it makes so much more sense why the last few years of Biden's presidency felt off. Like, really off. Why were his policies so extreme, so anti-American, so disconnected from logic and tradition? Now the pieces are coming together. Because no rational, sane American president would have made some of the decisions we've seen, unless someone else was pulling the strings. And now here's where the rabbit hole goes even deeper. Now they all deny it, the biggest gaslighting operation in political history. And fast forward to now, every single person involved is suddenly playing dumb. Not a single one of them remembers what they said, what they did, or the lies they helped push. They're gaslighting the entire nation, like we all have collective amnesia. What do you mean we said Biden was totally fine? That was never us. Yeah, okay. These are the same folks who mocked anyone raising red flags. They called us conspiracy theorists, nutjobs, MAGA cultists for simply noticing that Joe Biden wasn't exactly firing on all cylinders. But now they say they were duped, lied to. We had no idea. They cry, give me a break. Even Jake Tapper, the same guy who mocked the right for years, is now cashing on the truth bomb he helped bury. He dropped his new book like a grenade, and now wants brownie points for exposing what we've been saying since day one. I mean, sure. Kudos, I guess. At least he beat the rest of the pack to the finish line. But make no mistake, this wasn't a sudden revelation. It was a slow-motion disaster, and they all rode the wave until it crashed. Now, the Democrats are banking on one thing, that you've already forgotten. They want you to move on. No big deal, right? But here's the problem They didn't just lie. They covered up what could go down as one of the most disgraceful betrayals of public trust in U.S. history. Van Jones, yes, CNN's own Van Jones, basically admitted it live on air. He said Tapper's book is like watching the emperor's new clothes in real time. And he's not wrong. Everyone knew something was wrong. Everyone. But they were too scared to say it. Too scared to break ranks. The only one who dared to hint at the truth was David Axelrod. And even he danced around it for 2 years. Van Jones literally said he loved Joe Biden, worked with him, admired him. But when Biden came out and the world saw his deteriorated state, even Van couldn't believe it. And here's the kicker. That wasn't a one-off. Biden had shown signs for a long time. The book lays it all bare. People knew. People stayed quiet. And according to Van, that silence was a crime against a republic. Let me say that again. A crime against a republic. So what now? Here's the part that'll boil your blood. This wasn't just a failure of leadership. This was a deliberate power grab. A calculated operation to keep a compromised man in office while shadow operatives, unelected, unaccountable, pulled the strings from behind the curtain. That's not just bad governance. That's treasonous. And yet the public response from the left is basically, it's in the past. Get over it. Excuse me? We should just forget that the entire chain of command inside the White House might have been signing off decisions on Biden's behalf, approving laws, budgets, orders, all in his name, while the man himself could barely string together a sentence. You don't get to memory hold this. Where's the accountability? Where are the logs? The sign-offs? The evidence of who was really calling the shots? And just when you thought the story couldn't get more surreal, here comes a clip that resurfaced on X, formerly Twitter. A throwaway moment from Biden in 2022, brushed off as a gaffe back then. But now, it hits different. He was talking about pollution and cancer, and suddenly he says, that's why I and so many damn people I grew up with have cancer. What? People laughed it off as another Joeism. But here's the kicker. It might have been the truth all along. And this is the President of the United States. A man with access to the best health care on earth, the most advanced diagnostics, the most proactive screenings, the highest standards. And we're supposed to believe he just found out last Friday? Nope, not buying it. And neither is the medical community. Doctors are going on record saying it's basically impossible for a man in Biden's position to have developed prostate cancer this severe without it being caught years ago. In fact, in a now viral interview, one physician bluntly states, he didn't develop it in the last 100 to 200 days. He had it while he was president, probably at the start of his presidency. No doubt. Let that marinate for a second. He likely had aggressive, bone-spread prostate cancer since day one in the Oval Office, and they still ran him like a marathon horse, parading him in front of cameras, sending him overseas, putting him behind podiums, pretending everything was fine. That's not care. That's abuse. That's manipulation. And if they did this to the most powerful man in the country, imagine what else they're doing behind the scenes. Look, I'm not saying this to stir the pot. I'm saying it because it's true. This deserves a trial. This deserves life sentences. They lied to 330 million people. They weaponized a frail man's image to serve a radical agenda. And they destroyed the credibility of every institution that vouched for it. Because make no mistake, this wasn't just Biden's decline. It was a rise of unelected power, pushing an agenda Biden himself might not have even understood. Look at the policies: government expansion, globalist treaties, mass migration, culture collapse. You think a healthy, lucid Joe Biden would have pushed all that? Of course not. This was about control. And Joe Biden was their puppet. We are living in unprecedented times. And the only way out of this is through exposure, accountability, and truth, no matter how ugly. So what do you think? Is this the biggest scandal in modern political history? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every one. And hey, if you're new here, make sure to hit that like button. Smash that subscribe. Ring the bell so you never miss a drop of truth. Until next time, stay informed, stay aware, and stay free. This has been your one-stop source of the stories they don't want you to hear. See you in the next one.